Hi, I'm Daniel Mullen, and you're watching Purebred Reds, Adelaide United Fan TV.
G'day guys, and welcome to the Purebred Reds, Adelaide United Fan TV. We are live to preview our game today against Western United. It's Western United's first ever trip to Cooper Stadium in their history, and we're here to preview the game live with kickoff around about 2 hours away. Cooper Stadium is obviously the venue that we're in. There is a game going on, a curtain raiser. It's the Alex Chinowski's Shield between Bozza FC and Brahma Lodge. And I do have to just mention quickly that if at any time we stop speaking, it's because a goal's been scored and it's very, very loud. It's happened twice in the last minute, so if someone does score, you know why we've stopped talking for at least 30 seconds or so. Anyhow, we're going to get straight into it. So, Chris, welcome.
Thank you, mate.
How you doing?
Good to be back in Adelaide after last week's trip to Melbourne.
Yeah, so just quickly touch on Melbourne for us. How was it?
Yeah, I'd say it was a very fun day up until kickoff. No, I'm joking. It's always a good trip going over to Melbourne. It's pretty unfortunate the way we lost it because I felt pretty optimistic especially after we scored the first goal. But I think we'll talk about that a little bit later, the game itself. Now we're here for Western United.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want to talk about the other Victorian teams for now. Western United are the team in the spotlight. So taking place behind us, as I've mentioned, guys, is the Alex Chinowski Shield. Now, the significance here is that the managers of both these clubs behind us, they're both South Australian Amateur League clubs. Both teams are managed by ex-Adelaide United players. One of those is Fred Agius, who manages Brahma Lodge, and then Daniel Godley manages Bozza FC. Now, Daniel Godley, for whoever might not remember, he's a Metro Stars legend, and he was a short-term replacement for Mark Birighitti all the way back in 2009, while Fred Agius made 13 appearances in our foundation season in the NSL. Now, moving on, as always, you can catch the game today on Fox Sports and the Kayo Sports app, but significantly it's the first ever Adelaide United home game being broadcasted by ABC, so you can tune in on free to air today for the first time from South Australia. We'll just wait for Jared Walsh to do his thing. Now, in terms of squad news, guys, it's huge. We're welcoming back a host of players, including Ben Halloran, who did recommit to the club just this week gone. Stefan Mork also comes back in, as well as Lachlan Baruch and Ryan Strain, which are huge ins. Make sure you do post any questions or comments that you may have. We'll address them like we always do as soon as we can. So some big ins for us today. Hopefully that means that our chances are definitely boosted of getting a much needed result today. Chris, we can't understate how important this game is. It's really do or die, and you know, it's not going to be sold that well in the media in a mainstream sense, but really this game is huge for Adelaide United. If we lose tonight, we're out of the six today. So yeah, Western, it's a huge opportunity for them. Obviously, they're really looking to make their finals push as well. So, you know, a game of massive proportions, and I'm going to ask you more about that in 1 second or so. I do just want to rattle off a quick few little did you knows provided by Optus, so we thank them for that. Adelaide United have won their last 6 Hyundai A-League matches on the bounce at Cooper Stadium against Victorian opposition, conceding just 2 goals in that time. Western United have scored 14 goals so far in 2023, more than their expected goals value suggests they should have, the largest positive disparity of any team in the competition. The Reds have made 8 errors leading to shots this A-League campaign, the joint most of any team in the competition, aside from Central Coast Mariners. For those errors, 4 of those errors, have resulted in a goal conceded. And Western United striker Besar Barisha has scored 8 goals in his last 8 A-League games against Adelaide United. Indeed, his career tally of 19 goals against them is the second most of any player against a single team. Now, Chris, I hate the fact that they've listed Western United as United. Meanwhile, there's a goal behind us, so we're just going to break in transmission because Jared Walsh is going to do his thing quickly.
Goal for Brahma Lodge, scored by number 14, Fred Smith. The score is Bozza 3, Brahma Lodge 2.
3-2.
You heard it, 3-2. It's an absolute
nail biter.
Yeah. Now we're going to get straight into the preview here, Chris. We've got a few comments flying in. let us begin by illustrating how huge this game is. Obviously, if we win, firmly back in the hunt for second. But if we lose, we are out of the six this week for the first time in a long time. That will happen, guaranteed. It doesn't matter what happens in other results. So the stakes seem huge, but it's been on these kinds of occasions, Chris, particularly at Cooper Stadium, where we've been able to reverse the doubters and their speculation about whether we can win games or not when there's high stakes, high pressure. We've seen it on occasions against Victory. FA Cup final springs to mind. The Melbourne City game here that we did a live preview for. Is there a chance? Can we really get behind the team today? Can we be confident that it will be the case that we're going to prove the doubters wrong today and beat Western?
I think, it's a good question, if I'm honest with you, because we haven't really been getting the job done recently in not necessarily games that are absolute must-win, but games that you'd want to win that could boost our stature in the top six. A win against Melbourne Victory last week would have been incredible for our push for top four, and we didn't win it. But you're right in saying that we have won a lot of the sort of must-win games so far this season. Melbourne City really comes to mind both times in the Cup and the League. Melbourne Victory, when we were on that sort of very poor run of form where we lost multiple games in a row and then we went and beat them. So without giving my prediction, I think that we could get a result. I don't see it being a draw, but I feel optimistic in the sense that I think we could get a decent result here. And just to our viewers, any observations, any questions, anything like that, leave it in the comment section and we'll be reading them out as we go. Anyway, Ellis?
Bruce Jitte did make, rather journalists and not really traditional soccer journalists made a big deal of the fact that we haven't drawn any games so far this season to Bruce Jitte in his press conference midweek. It is significant, isn't it? We're now, 22, or we are, I think, 20 games now and no draw.
Yeah, that's a very weird start.
I've never seen that, to be honest.
Never in my time supporting the club I've never ever witnessed
definitely
that.
never happened.
even as a player, I don't think I've ever gone like a full season without having at least one draw by this time. So it's a weird start, and it kind of bothers me because I feel as though because of that we're going to be in a situation where we're losing a game and then we're not going to be able to salvage something from it. There are games where we've been one goal down and we could have salvaged something and didn't. And there have been games where we've been drawing and then lost it, like Melbourne Victory last week. We were just minutes away from securing a draw and then we bottled it at the end.
There's actually been plenty of occasions where we've been up in a game that we're not expected to win and ended up losing it, so hopefully we don't bottle it today. Now the big one for us this week has to be Ben Halloran, who's back in business for us after missing out last week. He did of course sign a new 2-year deal midweek, which is huge news for us as Adelaide fans. Now Halloran's stocks are definitely rising, and you'd say behind McGree and Teresi, he's probably like, our star player, I'd argue. His inclusion today surely would irritate Western United coach Mark Rubin, wouldn't it? Because in February Halloran's form was immensely good, and the last thing they would want is to see that we've got our informed player back again for today's game. Yeah,
of course. Halloran has been our best attacking player this season. I'll just wait till the ground announce is done. Halloran has
Cheers, Jared.
Yeah, he's been the best of our front three going forward. I wouldn't say I said our best attacker, but if we're counting attackers, McGree's basically an attacker when he's playing in that number 10 role. But yeah, he's been the best sort of designated forward going in attack this season. And Mark Rubin will not be very happy given that Halloran had an absolute ball the last time we played Western United. I think he got 2 assists down the right wing, and he was just ever present going forward. I think his form has been up there with. He scored 10 goals in all competitions, and at this time last season, we're talking that's almost Goodwin level form.
Yep.
He hit his 7th goal before getting injured last week. Seven goals is quite a good.
It's what you sort of expected when he was first signed.
Well, I agree, because when he signed under Kurtz, he had this history of being Australia. He's a winger playing in the World Cup. He's been
bit of argy-bargy.
He'd been all around the world.
Yeah.
And now he's back in Australia. And I wouldn't say I expected more because the quality was always there last season, but he was always just used in the wrong way, where used as a centre forward, or used as a number 10. And under Verbeek, he's really blossomed. I'd say he's really come to come to grips with how well this attack can be. He's always potent going forward. I think that he's always positive, and I like the fact that he also tracks back very well. Now I don't know if his recent form is attributed to him trying to win a contract, because I don't know if this is if this was knowledge that the public knew or not, but he and his partner were very happy here in Adelaide and wanted to remain, and they wanted to exercise the Adelaide option before potentially looking into internationally or another domestic move. Now that's happened, but I hope that his form wasn't him trying to win a contract here, because he was. I've always been a big Ben Halloran fan from the day he signed. I've always thought that he's been a great player, and I'm really glad that he's really reaping the rewards this season, because his goal scoring form and getting assists, he's been vital to our attack, and it looked a little bit out of place last week against Melbourne Victory. So hopefully he features today in some form.
Yeah, no, very well said indeed. This is Western United's maiden trip to Cooper Stadium, like we touched on before. Would there be any extra jitters within the Western camp? They don't know the South Australian territory. This is the first time they're obviously playing at this venue. We know how intimidating it can be when you've got the crowd above you and so close to the action like we are here at Cooper Stadium. So hopefully, by the way, we do get a good crowd in today, which I'm sceptical as to whether we will because of the last two results, but and obviously the kick-off time isn't ideal either. But yeah, Western United making their first trip down here. What do you reckon?
Oh, look, for the players in their squad, and there are a few who have already played for other A-League teams here in Adelaide. I don't think that would be anything new for them. But yeah, I agree for the bulk of their squad who haven't played here before. It's certainly a new experience, because you do get a more intimate atmosphere compared to if you're playing the Mariners for the first time. I know that they have a decent stadium, but their support just isn't really there. I think there's certain givens that you're going to get when you're playing Hindmarsh, and for the players like Diamante and Kone, this won't be anything new to them. They've played at the elite level in Europe and under much more intimidating atmospheres. But for some of their players who are new perhaps to the A-League, new to playing here in Adelaide, it's a new experience, and as a club, for them this is uncharted territory. I don't think that it'd really affect them though. I'd hope it would, but I don't think it will.
They're probably used to not playing, with all due respect, in front of a lot of people, so it doesn't look like we're going to get many in today, but fingers crossed. Now, defence is without doubt the biggest talking point right now for us. We looked very dodgy there again last weekend against Melbourne Victory, and conversely Western United hit 6 past Central Coast last weekend. What changes should happen, if any, from our perspective?
From our perspective, I want to see Ryan Strain back in. Moroney has, I really respect Moroney. I think he's been a great servant of this club, and he's a great player on his day. I don't think he's that much of a right back anymore. I feel as though if you have to play Moroney, if his form is on course to put him in the team, then he needs to be playing as a centre half. Ryan Strain, I watched the base press conference during the week, and he said that Strain had trained the whole week. There's no reason why he shouldn't be starting. I think Strain has become an integral part of this team. After his sort of rocky start where he got a red card against Sydney in round 1, he needs to be starting this game today.
We definitely need someone quick, whether or not they're the best defensive option there. I think with the way things have been, you just need someone that can cover and sweep other people's areas.
That right back position has been a bit of a trouble for us in the past 2 weeks since Strain has been out injured. Their goal, Melbourne Victory's final goal, came from that right back position down their left wing, and we were playing an 18-year-old defensive midfielder there. So you can't really, I couldn't blame Diorigo for Naboot tearing him to shreds. He's young and he's not that defender, but I think now we need Strain. He's fit. He should be starting. So that's the one defensive change I'd make. Yeah.
Yep. Now I want to ask you how you viewed Western United as a whole coming into the A-League. They've had their critics, but they've certainly been competitive nonetheless, and they've shown ambition in terms of spend as well, bringing the likes of Diamante, Kone, Barisha, and Ersan Gulam, former Adelaide United centre-back, before he departed there. So as a whole, on the pitch mainly.
For the referees coming off.
Wow. Okay, there is a football first here. I'm fairly certain there's been a referee substitution, and I'm pretty sure it's just out of the referee not lasting the entire game. So I'm pretty stunned to see that, unless he's picked up some kind of injury. Bless him, but I'm pretty sure he couldn't run out the game. So, yeah, that's something you don't see every day. Now, where were we?
Continue.
Western United.
Western United as a whole. Look, they've done some okay things this season. I can definitely get around Diamante, bringing Diamante in. What a player. That's a great coup for the league, and I actually don't think people sort of recognise how good Diamante, how big a signing that is for Diamante, if I'm honest. But look, he's a good player. I'm excited to see him every week. I want to see him today. I want to get a picture with him, to be honest, and bring also Panayotis Kone, who's played at international level for Greece. That's another good inclusion into the team. So I think they've signed some good young talent as well. They signed Valentino Yulf, South Australian talent, Stamatolopoulos as well. He hasn't been getting the game time, but look, I hope for their sake and for the league's sake that they can get their members up, their crowd numbers up, and obviously that'll come if they build that new stadium, and a new boutique stadium for Victoria will be, and for the country as a whole, will be really brilliant. I think that's when they can start to see the fans really pour in, because they have the foundations there, I'd say, and they've got some good results. Going back to the start of the season, they beat Melbourne Victory in a screamer. I was thinking, man, this team, Western United, I felt really excited watching them. And I know they haven't been getting some of the results, and there's perhaps been a couple of things going wrong there, but look, I hope for all sakes that they really can continue building up, because they've got some good players, and it seems like that they can build something on what they have at the moment.
Yeah, beautifully summed up there, mate. Now, Nathan Constantopoulos was re-signed as well. It's kind of been overshadowed a bit by the Ben Halloran news, but massive for the club to show faith in a serviceable young local product, youngish still, especially now that he's obviously going through his rehab after sustaining an ACL.
Yeah.
So great to get that news in, that Nathan Constantopoulos will remain a Red at least for a further 12 months. Now, Chris, I can't not ask you for your prediction. So, I mean, it's a challenging one today. I really don't know which way I feel, because like I said, the team has surprised us a lot this season, particularly here, when most aren't expecting anything. They've come up trumps, but two most recent performances suggested there's 100% concrete issues that cannot be ignored, and you just wonder whether that's going to play into Western United's hands today.
Yeah, well, just as Verbeek walks past our camera over here, he did in his press conference speak about defensive discipline, and that's been a problem for us all season, because we haven't really been. I'd say that a lot of the goals that we conceded have been from a lack of discipline. Against Victory, one was a counter-attack, which could have been averted.
Coming off number 10, John Hayes. He will be replaced by number 14, Michael Petit.
Do we reckon there's an interchange here, or is it 3 subs max? I reckon it's an interchange.
Not sure.
Subs going off like they're going out of fashion.
But yeah, just going back on that defensive discipline, another goal against Victory was from a throw-in. That shouldn't really be goals that we're conceding, but it is what it is now, I suppose. I don't want to talk about the Western Sydney game, because that was just an absolute mess. But look, we need to be more disciplined, and if they work on that, hopefully that this is a concrete issue, as you said, that there needs to be some sort of solution. I don't know, I'm no coach, but ultimately, if we can fix those little disciplinary issues in our defence, then there's no reason why. Western United were free scoring last week, but their 2 games before that they didn't score a goal. So I think one thing I also highlight is the fact that Verbeek said this in his presser: we need to be keeping more possession, because Diamante is in his mid-30s, and if he's constantly chasing, he's not going to be able. If he can't get on the ball, then what can he do? Possession is a must today, because for Diamante, I can't rate him high. He's one of the best players in the league, and he did 3-3.
Goal fest here, absolute goal fest.
Diamante did sort of rip us apart the last time we played him. We just scored more.
Goal for Bramalot, scored by number 23, Chad Pidger. The score is Bossa 3, Bramalot 3.
I think today's going to be high scoring. I reckon it'll be 3-2 maybe to us. I think we'll get the goals on them. I feel rather optimistic. I hope we don't concede 2 goals because I'm sick of us conceding goals. Even under Kurtz, we were not conceding freely like we were now. I felt as though we had a weak defence under Kurtz. Now what we have is even worse. But hopefully, we don't concede too much, and I'm going for maybe a 3-2 win.
3-2. So similar to the first game in Western Melbourne.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's a real hard one. Western coming here, I feel like if they lose today, is that almost kind of their season on the ropes? What do you reckon?
Yeah, because
just in terms of momentum,
they're out of the 6 at the moment, and we're the team that is only one above them.
Yeah.
After Brisbane's win last night, we are the only team in between them and finals at the moment, and so they'll be extra motivated. They need 3 points and they jump us.
Can't believe this game. I'm kind of.
For Bossa, scored by number 9, Usmanu Mahamadou. The score is Bossa 4, Brahma Lodge 3.
I'm kind of low-key annoyed we're not watching this game right now.
This is an advert. This is an advert for local football.
The SASL, mate. The South Australian Amateur Soccer League. It's going off behind us.
I can't remember our question.
The question was Western United in significant danger of
That's right,
really being on the ropes if they lose this today.
If they lose this today, then it's 6 points between us and them, and that's 6 points between them and making the top 6. So,
just momentum-wise though, because obviously, you know, it feels like the world's against them at times when they're not performing because they got into the league ahead of a lot of other already established, alternatives. So people are expecting big things from them. So, they do have that extra spotlight on as well.
Yeah, it's a big call, but they've lost a few of their players that they started with. Gulen was a really great leader in the team, and a couple of others they lost as well. Look, it wouldn't.
Scott McDonald
as well, yeah. And I don't want to comment on how Rudan's doing as a coach. Not really an area for concern that we're discussing today. But look, it's not the worst case scenario if they don't make finals this year, just with a long term thing, because they haven't sort of bottomed out. You know, they're not contending for the wooden spoon with the Mariners. They're mid table, and I'd say that's a seemingly solid start.
Throw us a question or comment, guys, if you've got any. We are close to wrapping here. Kick-off under 2 hours away now.
Yeah.
Very, very keen to see the team pull a win out of somewhere. We definitely need it. Lots going on behind us.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I suspect that a lot more people will roll in, but right now, Cooper Stadium is quite bare. Let's hope that we do get the crowd that we want to get.
Yep, of course.
Personally, I'm going to go with a 1-0.
Fair enough.
For Adelaide United, obviously.
Yep.
And I think it'll be Riley.
Riley McGree.
I can't see how Riley doesn't score if we win games.
Fair enough.
He's pretty much got an involvement in everything we do in an attacking sense.
Yep.
Guys, been great bringing you this preview live from Cooper Stadium. Make sure you get behind the team, whether it's by being here later today or indeed by watching on Fox or ABC. Hopefully we get up. Hopefully we get a win.
Hopefully.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you keep getting behind Purebred Reds.
Yep.
We've been loving all the support and people's attention. So make sure you keep tuning in and go Adelaide United. Going to be a very significant game here this afternoon that will take place. Guys, all the best. Try Adelaide United.
Thank you
Thanks
very
a
much.
lot.